Welcome to the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. I'm your host, Robin L. Owens, Ph.D., and this is where we dive in each week to give advice, tools, and tips for high-achieving, purpose-minded women who've written nonfiction books and want to amplify their message beyond the book. I'm a college professor, and when I'm not doing that, I am speaking, coaching, mentoring, and teaching high-achieving women who have written books how to use their books to make a bigger difference, have more impact, and purpose. Okay, let's dive in. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. So glad you're here. Appreciate you for taking time out of your busy day and schedule to be with us. And as you know, if you've been listening to the podcast this past season, we've been talking about beyond the book. That's been the focus, beyond the book. So we've been talking with guests who are authors or who have advice and tips for authors about their book, about their process, about personal growth, professional growth and development as authors. But today we'll have a solo episode, and that means I will be just sharing with you from my heart and experience and expertise on this whole theme of beyond the book. And so the episode today is for authors. And when I say authors, I mean nonfiction authors who want to amplify their knowledge beyond their book. And if you want to do this with more meaning, purpose, and profits. So that's what this episode is about today. And it's for two types of authors. One, if you've been wanting to create a course based on your book and you've been wanting to do this for a long time, then this episode is for you. Or if you're new to considering creating a course based on your book, this episode is for you too. And I want to teach you how to not only create a course based on your book, but how to create a masterful course. And this so you can either leverage your time or make more money or serve more people or do all three. So that's why I want to teach this to you today. And I want to teach you from a method that works well for me throughout my last several years as a tenured college professor and probably over 20 years of teaching. I have learned what works, and I've learned sort of painfully what doesn't work when you're creating courses. And so I've honed the best of the best, and I've been successful at it now for quite a while in the university classroom, but also outside of the classroom. I've been teaching authors, speakers, consultants, and coaches over the past year or more who have books and they want to create courses based on those books. So we've been doing that very successfully. And I've been teaching them a method that I call the MASTER.Y Method to course creation. And so that's what I'm going to teach you here today, the MASTER.Y Method to course creation. Now, mastery, what does that mean? Mastery. It has 7 parts to it. Each part is a principle that lends itself to a successful course based on your book. And it follows the acronym for the word mastery. Okay, so now the first one, M. Okay, mastery, M-A.S.T.E.R.Y, right? So we're going to go with the M first. M, your course must have measurable outcomes. And how you decide on what the outcomes of your course are going to be, you ask yourself 3 questions. The first one, ask yourself, what do I want the course participant to know at the end of this course? So what do I want them to know? The second one is, what do I want them to be able to do by the end of this course? And the third question is, what do I want them to feel at the end of the course? Now, these outcomes will depend on your topic. So you could have one question. In other words, these questions, you can use any combination. You can use all number 1, all number 2, all number 3, or a combination of 1, 2, and 3. So all what you want them to know, or a combination of what you want them to know and do, or how you want them to feel afterwards, depending on the topic. And the feel one is, it might sound a little tricky, but let's say your topic has to do with health and well-being and eating habits, and you want them to follow a particular plan. You may want them to feel more confident in their ability to follow that particular plan. So that's an example. So M, mastery, first one, measurable outcomes. What I want them to know, do, or feel. Any combination. Okay, the next letter is A in mastery, which stands for address a specific problem. So your course must address one problem. Don't try to do too much in one course. One course, one problem. So address one specific problem. That's the problem your course is going to solve. All right, so that's MA. Now let's go on to S in mastery. The S stands for student focused. Student focused. Your course must be student focused. As you're thinking about the content from your book to put into the course, think about the student experience. Think about the problem that you're addressing, because now you've already established that. Think about the outcomes, because you've already established those. So focus on the student, not so much on you in terms of what you might think just merely is the most interesting or exciting. Yes, that's a part of it, but you also want to keep in mind the student. All right. So now we're on T. We did MAS, we are on T. T stands for tested. Your content has to have already been tested and proven successful with your work, with your own work or with other people. So it has to have already been tested. So it produced results because you've already tested them. So that's the T. Now we're moving on to the E in mastery. E stands for enable small wins. So your course must enable small wins along the way. And the way you do that is to, in your course, make sure you allow aspects of the content that gives the course participant, the student, achievable little results along the way. So they have a sense of accomplishment and achievement along the way. That's how you enable small wins. Now, let me pause here and say this. I'm giving a high level overview, right? These are kind of high level principles. I go into each of them in more depth in my training series, but for now, this is to give you an overview, and you can use these either way. And also, I mentioned my training series. I have a free 4-part video training series that you could go to that gives you a little more detail, and that is over at createmasterfulcourses.com. All right. So, but we were in mastery right now doing the high level overview. So mastery, we did the M, A, S, T, and E. Now we are on R. All right. So results oriented. R stands for results oriented. Always thinking about the results, always choosing your content, organizing your material, creating your curriculum based on the results. So that's the R. Last but not least, certainly not least, is Y. Can you guess what the Y stands for? What's your guess? Yes, it stands for yes. I'm laughing at myself because I said yes, and yes is a Y, but really, yes stands for you. Okay, YOU. That Y stands for you. It's a piece that I see many consultants and many coaches, speakers, authors leaving out of the process. The why is so important. You, YOU is what it stands for. Your personality has to be in there. And some combination of your passions, there has to be something in there that you enjoy, which I imagine if you wrote the book, it is. But when the way you deliver the course, how you deliver it, and the material, even with the outcomes in mind, there has to be parts of something you're passionate about, something that really matters to you, your values, and some aspect of your natural abilities. So your personality, passion, values, natural abilities have to show up in some way in this course. That will help it, along with the others, become a masterful course because now it has mastery. So MASTERY, those are the 7 principles of a masterful course. And I have to say to you, I have seen this work over and over. And I think what makes it distinctive is this. The course is not just based on giving information. In this information age now, there's lots of information out there. But this is really geared toward transformation. There's some real change that happens at the end of the course. So some level of transformation. And it is such that when the person finishes the course, they start telling other people about it. And that's about the best marketing you can do is word of mouth. Have people share about the transformation they received from the course. So that's the mastery method. And as I mentioned before, it's just in a high level overview. But if you want more details, head on over and get my free 4-part video training at createmasterfulcourses.com, createmasterfulcourses.com. And I'll see you over there. And for now, this is Dr. Robin. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Leadership Purpose with Dr. Robin podcast. If you enjoyed it, head on over and rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every week, and I can't wait to hang out with you again soon. Meanwhile, this is Dr. Robin signing off. See you next time.